Hello, you are watching another edition of DBE TV News. We come to you every week on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel and on OpenView, channel 122. Welcome, I am Lekgotla Moagi. In our top stories, National School Nutrition Program service provider in KZN withdraws their services. The South African Council of Educators has its inaugural Teachers' Conference. And learners show their coding and robotics skills during the second First Lego League competition held in Limpopo. Pasina Retail, the service provider awarded the National School Nutrition Program contract at the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal, has opted out of the contract. This after the company failed to deliver food to over 2 million learners, leaving them hungry for over a week. When the food was available, parents and school managements reported that the food was not according to the meal plan, with others saying the food had expired. Meanwhile, the Basic Education Department has launched an investigation into the matter. The National Examination and Assessment Committee held a Lekgotla looking at how best to modernize and administer the exams, among other things. This was a 3-day gathering which took place in KwaZulu-Natal. The Lekgotla was also aimed at ensuring the examinations administered in the basic education sector remain credible. The theme for this year's Lekgotla was improving the current while keeping an eye on the horizon. Director General Matanzima Mweli highlighted the priorities of the conference.
The first one is the establishment of an independent examination council. We've been talking about this for quite some time. The President reminded us on Friday, Dr. Mthembu, that we are in the last leg of the 6th administration. Some of this should form part of the handover report to the 7th administration. And I'm urging NIAC to move with speed in this regard. You can see some of the progress that has been made, but I want to urge you, brothers and sisters, colleagues, fellow South Africans and countrymen and women, let's move with the speed that is required. Number 2, the review of assessment and examination to support skills and competencies for a changing world. There's been some talk about competency framework of South Africa. Let's move, and let's move as fast as we can. And there's pressure from all over the place about the need to reinvent our examination system. The third one is the modernization of exams. There's very good progress that has been made, but we need to move and make sure that the progress that we are making becomes universal in the entire system.
Dr. Bani Mthembu, the Deputy Director General for Curriculum, added that the recommendations of the Lekgotla must be implemented.
The 3 days in the Lekgotla must be used by us effectively so as to provide innovation and enhancements to the examination and assessment system of the country. It is a famous statement in government that the government will turn very slowly. However, in the NIAC, Lekgotla, we must be able to identify the recommendations that must be actioned with urgency and in a fast manner so that we make timeless impact in the assessment system of the country. Whilst we must make sure that the immediate, that is the short-term recommendations are implemented, we must also not lose focus of the long-term recommendations. The The implementation of these long-term recommendations must be monitored closely, and an action plan for their implementation must be drawn. In other words, the Lekgotla is not going to be a talk show. It is not going to be a theoretical forum, but at the end of the day, we must come with impactful recommendations which will be implemented.
After the Lekgotla, Dr. Rufus Polia spoke on the way forward and what is expected from the participants.
There's three words throughout this Lekgotla. There's three words that have been constantly buzzing in my head, and they've been just being thrown around. And the three words is reconfiguration, re-engineering, and remolding. And I want you to leave this Lekgotla with the three words. Firstly, there has to be a reconfiguration of our minds. If you are going to leave this place with the same kind of thinking about assessment, then it means we've not achieved the objective. And I think Mr. Fasahi and a number of colleagues have spoken about this. In fact, Dr. Ntembu, moving forward, we're not going to talk about this distinction between exams and assessment. That's a misnomer. I mentioned that at the beginning. Assessment is the umbrella term. Examination is one type of assessment. But you know what we've done? This one type of assessment, which was supposed to be the sub-component, has now become the dominant. In other words, the son has become the father. Exam is the son of assessment. So we need to get the son taking the right place and becoming the umbrella term. And we're going to have to rethink about this so that we're going to change our thinking. And I think for me, colleagues, reconfiguration of the mind is number one. Re-engineering the system. This examination system that we have is no more feasible in the 21st century context. And I think the elements of a re-engineered system are there. We've been talking about them over the last 2 days. It's a matter of putting it all together. And what you need to understand, colleagues, and I want you to leave this meeting, you're not going to get additional staff capacity. You're not going to get additional budget. Budgets are shrinking. You and I will have to go and look at our processes, re-engineer our system so that they fit in with the available budget. If we get additional money, we must say, thank you, Lord, we've received something extra. But don't expect any additional money. We hear this being mentioned constantly. In fact, your budgets for 2023, 2024 are going to be cut even further.
He added that there must be a clear curriculum and assessment roadmap.
We must come up with a clear curriculum and assessment roadmap. There's too much that's happening around us. I mean, if you look at it, we're talking about digitization. We're talking about a national exam board. We're talking about electronic distribution of question papers, electronic marking, SBA. But all of these must be put together into a clear, integrated roadmap so that we know in 2023, this is where we need to be. 2024, this is where we need to be. 2025. So you have a clear plan of how all of these come together and how we move forward. So whether one of us leaves, whether somebody else comes in, there should be no fear of that, simply because you've got a clear roadmap for curriculum and assessment, and we can take all of these things forward. So my passing shot, colleagues, let's go back home and let's spend time on reflecting on what has been discussed.
When we return, we hear more about SACE's inaugural conference.
Hey Matrix, don't give up. Watch Wars of Matrix every day on TV to help you revise and study with confidence. Check the schedule and plan your studying for the week. Read up on the topic before you watch. Come prepared. It's hard to focus if you watch like this, or this, or this. Switch off your phone and switch on your brain. Sit up, be alert, take notes, and really listen. When we watch actively, that's when we learn. You can do it.
The South African Council for Educators held its inaugural Teachers' Conference over 2 days in Ekurhuleni. The theme, the teaching profession in our hands, our voices and plight matter. The main aim of the conference was to give teachers a platform to speak about challenges they may face, but to also find solutions. The conference was attended by Minister Angie Motshekga, Deputy Minister Dr. Regina Mhaule, and Director General Matanzima Mweli. SAY CEO Ella Mukhalane said the conference will allow teachers to raise their voice as a collective. She has also spoken out against violence that teachers face daily.
As SAYs, we felt that we've never had really a conference that is for teachers. And therefore, we came up with a concept that will put teachers first, make sure that we give them a platform to raise their voice and also to deal with their plight. And we then said in our conceptualization, the conference theme will be the teaching profession in our hands and the voice, raising our voice and also our plight. And this would mean that to what an extent are we giving teachers the voice to raise their voice when we deal with, for example, the policies that we have in the education system, the work that we demand from them, the whole issue of intensifying their work without even thinking about whether are they able to do this or not. But it's also about saying, to what an extent do we recognize teacher leadership? And when I talk teacher leadership, I'm not talking about hierarchical leadership in terms of your principal, whatever. It's about me as a teacher in my own right, practicing leadership in my own classroom. If I have to practice leadership in my own classroom, to what an extent am I being given the autonomy and agency to be able to do what I'm supposed to be doing and be in a position to take certain decisions in my own space within the classroom instead of somebody dictating to me. And therefore, we said, let's bring the teachers together to focus on issues like your educational leadership and management, to focus on issues like inclusivity, their safety, their well-being, issues around psychosocial support. Meanwhile,
Minister Angie Motshekga spoke about the important role teachers play in the country, urging them not to give up on the vision and mandate they have been given. She also thanked the Council for the role they play in the education sector. Deputy Minister Dr. Regina Mhaule has reiterated the importance of teamwork during her visit to Mshadza Secondary School in Mpumalanga. She conducted a monitoring and oversight visit to the school to ensure all was going well for the second term. Mhaule also lauded the work being done by the school management team and the members of the school governing body.
I want to appreciate the good work that we're doing as GP members. I want to appreciate the good work that we're doing as a school, the team. Because if you want to win, build a teamwork. And when you work as a team, you will never fail. A team never fails. Even if you but if you work as a team and know that there's no expert, there's no master of everything, all the subjects that we specialized in, we are not masters of those subjects. We passing at 80% or 20%, where is the 20%? It means we're not shortage of 20%. So somebody no passing at 40%, who master only 20%, which we didn't pass it. So if we teach as a team on the topics and understand ourselves that this one is good at this, let's give, even if it's a grade 8 teacher, we can take that grade teacher on a particular subject to go and teach grade 12 because he's good at that topic.
She went on to urge learners to always be eager and keen to learn new things, even as they move on to tertiary institutions.
In general education, we don't want to store. Even if we artisan, ungaba i-artisan leqhubekako nokufunda. So ufunza more, ugcina udesigner your own things. Letingakaze tibe khona because you are a good artisan. Akusi artisan lelinza i-instruction kuphela. Usibangitshela ukuthi hayi ngenda lokho kuphela ngidinga lapho. Even lotho hamba athena kwenda i-welding. Mawendi welding awugcina ukweldela isimbi lekuphela ugcina uba uyacabanga ukuthi mara yini le namweldi langihlanganisa lesimbi ungakhipha ini njengalamantombazane siwabonile enta-aeroplane yakubona lokho akudzingi ukuthi uzufunza ube ne-PhD kusho le-aeroplane but ufundzela lokhu lofuna kwenda kona utokusida and bese uyakuthanda lolofundzela kwenda kona.
Learners from various schools in the Limpopo province took part in the regional leg of the first Lego League competition for coding and robotics. The competition took place at the Mastec Institute in Seshego. The first Lego League introduces science, technology, engineering and mathematics to children ages 4 to 16 through fun, exciting hands-on learning. Participants gain real-world problem-solving experience through a guided global robotics program, helping today's learners and teachers build a better future together. Dr. Patricia Gous from UNISA explained what was expected from the learners during the competition.
The whole focus today was to get teams of learners to participate in a robotics competition. They need to do projects and they need to be able to present it confidently, their research. They need to build a robot, they need to program a robot, and then they need to compete also in the robot matches with gracious professionalism, remembering at all times respect for other people and outside their team and within their team in how they talk and communicate with each other. And so it's been a very long day today. Every team had 3 robot rounds plus a practice round on a very tight schedule, you must imagine, with 32 teams. And then also each team had a half-an-hour interview session with a panel of judges where they, with confidence, presented their research, their technical building skills, their programming, and how they as a team almost survived in the challenge that lay ahead. And so this has been a very long but very inspiring day. We've had amazing teams. The judges deliberated for more than an hour because the quality has improved so much. And we thank every single teacher for putting it out there and really inspiring the learners and for the learners to actually show up.
Meanwhile, the Limpopo Education Department says they are excited to be part of the coding and robotics competitions.
We are implementing coding as a subject and using the draft policy, but we are also engaging in competitions. Our learners in Osias Davana took the first prize in the national competition, and they managed to score a 1.1 million rand lab. So here we are just brushing off, preparing for the final competition in September, and we think from there we'll go to the nationals, and this year we'll have Limpopo representing South Africa nationally.
The Department of Basic Education has lauded the learners for the work they have demonstrated.
What we want to do is to ensure that all the province, the districts within Limpopo, Mr. Maswime has agreed, they all participate, and we are going to be sitting down and strategizing how we can be able to do that. And then after that, we are going to look at the whole of South Africa, how we are going to make sure that the learners all participate, and in each and every province there is first Lego League challenge happening, because we have seen the benefit and value of it.
Coming up next, we are in KZN where the National School Sports Swimming Championships took place.
Hey learners in grade R11, feeling stuck or confused? Have you lost learning time in the last while? Well, Tswelopele is back to help you catch up. Find resources on the DBE cloud to use and share. Watch support lessons on TV or on our YouTube channel, where you will find exciting lessons in key grade R to 9 subjects. And for grade 10 to 11, have fun learning in many different subjects. Join our community of learners and teachers, parents and caregivers on Facebook, where there are tips and advice for better learning. learning. Need help? Contact us via our WhatsApp line and get support on all your subject problems. Stay connected. You can count on us. Check out our website to find out more at www.tswelopele.org.za. Tswelopele.
The Department of Basic Education has officially launched the SEDEC Future Life Now and Ubuntu Youth Leaders Movement. This was in partnership with UNICEF and MIET Africa. MIET Africa has for over 20 years assisted ministries of education to strengthen their education systems so they are better able to address barriers to learning, all towards securing the education rights of the region's children and youth. As an African NGO and an innovator of education approaches, the organization is able to make a significant contribution to sustainable development in the region.
Let me take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of UNICEF. We consider ourselves a privileged partner because when you partner with people who are in the business of construction, of building the building blocks that we need for a strong nation, for a strong continent, for a strong world, you can only count yourself privileged. It is an honor to be part of this ambitious effort to really build the future that is equitable, a future that is inclusive, a future that is fair, that is just, but more importantly, I'm looking at the banner at the back, a future that puts children and young people at the center.
This learner explained what she has learned about the Ubuntu Youth Leaders Program.
Well, what I learned about the program and the training that we did at school about Ubuntu is more especially about working together and chasing your dreams. Most importantly is to know yourself in order to be a leader. You can't lead someone when you don't know yourself. Maybe you do something wrong and you need to lead someone. They can't follow you because they know that you are not a leader. You have to have a confidence towards everything, even though it's not easy to be confident, but you gotta have confidence and you gotta have resilience and empathy to lead others. You have to understand their story, fit in their shoes, and to understand what they're going through. It's not always about you alone.
The Department of Basic Education has urged members of the Representative Council of Learners to always behave in an exemplary manner. This comes as the Northwest Province welcomes and congratulates the newly elected Provincial RCL Committee. The purpose of the RCL is to give the student body an opportunity to participate in activities that concern the learners in the functioning of the school and to instill in them a sense of responsibility, encourage school loyalty and respect for authority in order to prepare them for their adult lives. James Ndlebe from the DBE explained the roles and responsibilities of the RCL.
May I ask you to be exemplary? Can you act and behave in the manner in which talks to the position you are occupying? So we don't have to see that there is an RCL president who was found drunk in a school. If it happens, I'll ask the rest of the RCL members to pass a vote of no confidence and remove that person immediately. Because we're expecting to be exemplary, because we are the representative of learners. Your task is serious. Your task is to be an influencer. Your task is to build a school that you want. The character of a school that you wish for. If you are going to be serious about determining the culture of a school, you can decide now that there shall be no drugs in our schools. Because those drugs are consumed in your presence as learners. And there is this culture of quietness about it. And we don't want to tackle it. This abuse, these bullies are happening during break time and in our classrooms when there are no teachers in our presence. So it's up to us to decide now that our school will have no drugs, our school will have no bullying, there's not going to be vandalism in our school, and will reduce the rate of child pregnancy in our school. You decide as an RCL, and you draw that type of an agenda, you drive it to such an extent that you have a school that has a name in the community. When they see your uniform, they believe that these children are coming from that particular school.
Meanwhile, the Northwest MEC for Education said the learners will be trained on their roles and responsibilities, adding that as a department, they do not only focus on producing academics for the working world, but they also identify the potential of individual learners in other aspects, such as in leadership. The Gauteng MEC of Sports, Arts and Culture has congratulated learners who took part in the National School Sports Swimming Championships. The championships, a partnership between the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, took place from the 21st to the 23rd of April at Kings Park Pool in Durban.
Our efforts to continue to transform swimming in the country and expand opportunities should remain our common focus. Now, at this particular moment, I want to make a plea on behalf of all the provinces to our minister. So Minister Lekgotla, as we know, is dedicated to his work. He hasn't been in the portfolio for far too long. But Minister, here is the plea to you and the Deputy Minister that I'm picking on behalf of all the provinces. Could we at least have a facility of this nature in one school township or one village school, so that when we speak about true social cohesion, there is representation in all of the townships and villages. So this I'm doing on behalf of all the provinces.
Now let's take a look at the skills that the learners showed off in the pool. That's how we end this bulletin this week on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel and on OpenView channel 122. Remember to send through your stories or comments by contacting us on our Twitter handle at DBE TV News. Thank you for watching.